Hi, this is Peggy Rojas, host of Viviendo una Vida en Balance. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
I'm the Greg.
And I am Dave Show.
We host the Greg and Dave Show on Public House Media.
Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out our show, The Greg and Dave Show, where we talk about strange, bizarre, and sometimes just downright quirky news stories that you may not have heard about.
A new show comes out every Wednesday. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes. And hey, thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Welcome to another edition of The Public House presented by Public House Media. I'm Baxter Colburn. Thanks for joining us for another episode. Last week we had a great discussion about social media and what is going on with it as far as is it helping, is it hurting society? Myself and Caleb and Josh and Lee kind of all gave our thoughts and opinions, and it was great to hear from all of you, the listeners, as well, about your thoughts on social media. As you continue to listen to the shows, remember, we want to hear from you, the listener. You can contact us by going to our Facebook page, The Public House. Just search for it on Facebook or listen to our show wherever you get your podcast, but especially at thephmedia.com. This week, we are diving into, of course, the time of the year that gets basic girls excited and Starbucks so much more excited. We're talking about fall, and we're talking about maybe even Christmas, depending on how far we want to get off on a rail. But we'll get into what specifically about that we will start talking about. But I want to introduce our panel this week. I'm going to start this week. If you listened last week, you know my name is Baxter. I work in social media and marketing. I also work in customer service. It's a lot of fun. It's a little chaotic. And truthfully, I love what I do. And this week, a weird thing about me is we're talking about the guilty pleasure fast food restaurant. And for me, my guilty pleasure is Krispy Kreme and the drive-thru, because there's nothing more guilty than driving through a drive-thru to get a donut hot out of the oven. So... Okay, sorry. That's me. That's me. It's that's my guilty pleasure. But enough about
that aroma.
It is. There's something about just a fresh drizzled Krispy Kreme donut. We have a whole episode coming up in 2 weeks about guilty pleasures, and I'm pretty sure I just gave away one of mine. But either way, my guilty pleasure of a co-host is Josh. Hi, Josh. How are you?
Hello, Baxter. Great to join you again. My name is Josh Powers. I live in Pittsburgh, PA, and I work in tech support for a major telecom, so I'm the guy that you call when your cable's broken and I tell you to unplug it and plug it back in. And favorite, oh boy, guilty pleasure fast food. So I worked, I guess it was probably my second job ever. I worked at a Taco Bell and ate Taco Bell every day for at least 4 days out of the week, right? When you're doing that in high school,
you're bringing me back to college.
Yep. And so it's still one of those things that it's a comfort food, right? Even though it completely wrecks my internal organs. Definitely a guilty pleasure.
I don't know who considers that a comfort food when you have to spend the next 5 hours in the bathroom.
It's comfortable for 5 minutes.
I guess so. Speaking of somebody that's comfortable on the ears, our next panelist, Caleb. Hi, Caleb.
Hello. Lovely to see all of you here with this fall weather. I would have brought my coffee, but I arrived a little latte to the coffee shop.
For those that can't see, because we're recording on video, Caleb has the full jacket and scarf combo on. I think I see a pumpkin candle in the background there. It's quite folly at the Pearson Manor.
Well, right over here, I've got my leaves and my autumn wreath, and the cornucopia will be going in soon. So, anyways, my name is Caleb. I am an Uber driver. I do some freelance screenwriting and editing as well. And, I don't know, my favorite fast food place. I love them all so much. I don't want to offend anybody who loves Arby's or loves Burger King.
Oh, Arby's.
But I'll go with Culver's, especially now since the pumpkin spice shake is available. And it is to die for.
Yes. Yes. Speaking of someone that's to die for, our fourth and final panelist joining us on the show this week. I'm just finding a way, okay? We're transitioning.
Excellent transition.
Making her debut on the show is a woman who words never seem to fleet her. It's Maddie. Hi, Maddie. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Baxter. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Tell us about yourself.
So I'm Maddie Wunderle. I live in Racine, Wisconsin, and I do print production for a marketing department for a big old national company that can stay nameless, and we do all things printing and paper cuts and staples, and so we do that a lot.
You sound like you work for a place that just is really painful. You're like, we do paper cuts and we do staples. I'm just like, gosh.
Guilty fast food pleasure. I'm not even going to call it guilt because I do it on purpose. I do Instagram polls to see where I'm going to dinner sometimes if I'm going to make that choice. And so we're going to go Chick-fil-A for sure. The waffle fries. I will sit in line for 15 minutes for those waffle fries because I know they're worth every second of that.
But Chick-fil-A is so efficient that you're never waiting 15 minutes. It's 15 seconds.
But I would.
And they have a smile on their face and want you to have a great day.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Chick-fil-A could be its own episode altogether, but I'm excited for the Guilty Pleasure episode in a couple of weeks because there's some panelists that are going to be on for that I know for a fact one of them, Chick-fil-A, is like, I think they would name their children Chicken-fil-A if they could because that's how much they love it. But
this is my son Truett and my daughter Kathy.
I'm not sure if I get the reference.
Oh, sorry. The founder of Chick-fil-A's name was Kathy.
I was like... I don't get it.
Sorry.
Hey, it's all right. Wrong, I guess. Not the right
I
crowd.
drink and I know things.
I guess so. Speaking of knowing things, we all know that fall is here because it was pouring rain and freezing, at least where I live here in Door County, Wisconsin, and I'm sure it's been the same across the country. But the question I want to ask tonight, and this will stimulate our discussion, how soon is too soon to start getting ready for fall? Because Christmas has already started to rear its ugly head, and I'm like, wait. We have Halloween and we have Thanksgiving before we even think about Christmas. The Christmas is a whole nother debate. But how soon is too soon, gentlemen and lady, to jump into the fall season? When is it okay to light that pumpkin candle? When is it okay to pull the Ugg boots out of the cabinet? Or if you're Maddie, they never went into the cabinet. But how soon is too soon? I have to ask the question.
Boy, I think I started to see my first Halloween decorations in the local retail store probably the day after Labor Day, which was September 1st-ish? Right around
first
September
weekend
1st?
of September.
Because that's absolutely, because that's the official kind of end to summer, right? And so we got to get right after it. And I love going to retailers right around that time of year because all of your back to school stuff is on super deep discount for all the kids going back to school or college or whatever. So if you need cheap power strips or plastic furniture of any kind or the filing cabinets, all of those kinds of things, you can absolutely stock up on those as soon as September 1 hits and maybe a little sooner. But when you start to see the pumpkins and the bats and the witches' hats and all that kind of stuff before the calendar turns to 9/15, it's a little bit overwhelming for sure. So September 1st is when you start to see it, and that just seems way too soon.
It does, and I would agree with that also, but I always feel bad for Halloween because it gets such a mixed review nowadays too, right? And I mean, people aren't even really celebrating Halloween. I think it's just kind of like, oh, right, I can go drink and it's a Thursday night. Well, okay, good for you. Or if you're a parent, you're like, okay, what sort of little lamb or cow or cowboy in Indian Native American, can I dress my child up as this year and get all the Instagram likes? Like, I feel like Halloween is so irrelevant and people are just like, it's fall. And then we forget about Halloween and we go right to Thanksgiving. Am I wrong for thinking that?
We talk about, though, how cold trick-or-treating always is.
Right?
For a second. It's miserable.
It's terrible.
Like, all the fun stuff happens, though, before Halloween, I feel. Like So like fall is its own thing, and then Halloween is its own thing now. It seems like.
Right.
Yes.
Do you think Halloween is kind of the midpoint of autumn, I would say? Because it's September, October, November, and then you immediately think of December, Christmas, all that kind of stuff. Like that's the heart of winter, right? Even if you live in a colder climate where you've seen, because it's where I live, it's wet, right? The fall is characterized by rain more than anything like that. And then your leaves aren't crunchy. It's like your Frosted Flakes. Like if you dump Frosted Flakes, pour the milk in there, you're expecting that nice little crunch, but before you know it, they're all soggy and disgusting because you've left them alone for like 2 seconds. So we don't have that nice crispy kind of in the middle where it's just palatable enough. It's when the rain comes and yeah, it's cold. Like I can handle a little bit of cold going out there with the kids and everything and bundled up and everything. But if everything is moist and just soggy, then it's no fun at all.
Well, speaking of somebody that we don't want to be soggy because we want to hear his opinion, Caleb, you're the man. You're Mr. Fall right now. You've got the scarf on. You've got the jacket on. I mean, where do you stand in this how soon is too soon fall debate?
I think a month before is when you can start the celebrations. And I don't think you should officially start fall till the end of September. Or, I mean, if you really want to get down to it, I don't start fall until Green Day tells me to. Wake me up when September ends. That's when
the prophets of our time.
That's right. That's right.
This episode is not sponsored by Green Day and nothing,
No, I think Halloween is its own separate thing. It is the second highest grossing holiday though in terms of revenue next to Christmas.
Which is crazy.
So, which is kind of crazy to think about. Like
it's because you got to spend something on something every year. Like you can't recycle your costumes or your candy. You certainly can't recycle your candy. That's a little gross.
That's a little gross. I mean, that's another good question then, because you talk about Halloween and candy. How long is too long to keep your Halloween candy? A week? 2 weeks? Do you bring it to the office and say, hey, go ahead? Like, I have been close to Christmas and my grandma is still putting out candy that she was giving out at Halloween that she's like, yeah, it's left over. It's chocolate. It's been fine. I'm like, Grandma, that's like a month and a half, 2 months that we've been just sitting on chocolate and little Snickers and Kit Kat bars. Like, I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah, it switches over to the green and red Hershey's wrapped,
right?
Peanut butter Reese's, whatever. And so that's what's supposed to be there. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of how much do you buy, then how many kids do or don't come to your friend for, and it just, I give it up until Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you think candy lasts until about I think that's about a month. I think that's fair.
Yeah, that seems about right, because then it's essentially your snacks after the big meal, right? It's like, yeah, we've still got some York peppermint patties left over, or I don't know. For me, it was always all or nothing as far as the candy goes. I do need the little fun-sized candy bars, but I want the Reese's, not the Reese's Pieces. What's the big one? Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the fun-sized Reese's Peanut Butter Cups are a little bit thicker, a little bit chunkier, so it's more of a taste explosion.
I agree.
That's my go-to. If I'm going for a bucket, that's my go-to.
So when you think about fall, I spent a couple of weeks ago baking with my family. We did a lot of fall things. We were very basic. We were a very basic white family for a couple of days, and that's just take that for what it's worth. But where do you fall on the top favorite fall items? I mean, we made apple turnovers, and I'm drinking an apple cider beer right now. I had this incredible hard cider from Mackenzie's. It was called Pumpkin Jack. It was basically pumpkin flavored cider. It blew my mind. Like how deep into fall do you get when it comes to the fall flavorings? I mean, do you have to have an apple pie? Is it only acceptable to have apple pie from like end of September to like beginning of Thanksgiving? Like where do you fall in some of these fall stereotypical things?
Well, apple pie is the Patriots pie, so you can have that one year round, I think. And then I don't know, pumpkin pie to me, it's like just November.
Yeah.
Just November. Because then if it gets into Christmas, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of like having a ham at Thanksgiving. It's like, this is okay, but it's a little weird, you know?
Right.
Yep, right there with you.
Yeah. I mean, I had the pumpkin blizzard from Dairy Queen at the end of September, and I was like, I feel kind of weird, but like it's back, so I had to try one to say, yo, I got my pumpkin fix, but the calendar still said September, so I felt a little weird.
Pumpkin definitely gets all of the run at this time of year. That's for sure. That's kind of the signature. I wonder if pumpkins even exist at other times of the year, or we just forget about them.
I honestly don't know.
Is it a reverse Cinderella situation where, she has to get into the pumpkin, or the pumpkin has to get into us? I'm not quite sure how that works out. But I'm glad that you mentioned, Baxter, the pumpkin brew, because I definitely was at a beer sampling at a local grocery store in August. It was absolutely August. I remember it was the end of August, and they started to bring out the pumpkin beers. And that's definitely way too early for the pumpkin beers.
Well, you're talking about it now, so marketing?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
they did their job. You're giving them publicity.
For sure. And I mean, that's definitely not my kind of taste of choice, but I gave it a chance. But yeah, it's definitely more the apple for me, like the fermented apple cider when it's super sharp. Yeah, I've got to have the crisp apples for sure.
So I have to ask the question to you, Maddie, since you're the only female on the panel this week. Where do you fall on the level of basicness when it comes to fall? And do you get tired of all the basic posts and being wrapped into the basicness of Instagram? It's a lot of basic.
It's Han Solo season.
Yeah.
I do get tired of it just because it's so long. If it was just for like 2 weeks and the tweets and the Facebook posts and the Instagram posts were just recycled after like 2 weeks, it would be good for me. I would totally be fine with all things leaves and bright colors. I'm cool with that, can be a theme. But pumpkin spice lattes, I have one a year, and that's good for me. I'm a big fan actually of pumpkin cheesecake. That's my That's my thing for fall. I'll do one slice of apple pie. My biggest thing, I think that I'm most basic about, if that's a category we're shooting for, I would shoot for the blanket scarves.
Yes.
Those are just so toasty and comfy and cute, and they go with a lot of different outfits, and it makes your outfit, and you just have a blanket around you. And I mean, the only people that give me a hard time about it are probably over the age of 60, but they just really want one.
They just don't understand.
They don't understand what kind of fashion advice that Wisconsin girls can give, and that our Ugg boots are very warm.
It's true.
So
they're very warm. I mean, Tom Brady wears them. They have to be warm, right?
Oh yeah, he knows what he's done.
Josh is a Steelers fan. He's like, don't you say those words again.
Game recognized game.
Exactly.
So that's my basic level, I think, for fall.
I think that's fair. So a couple weeks ago, I watched It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown with my son. I want to go on record and say I think that is probably the quintessential fall or at least Halloween movie for all audiences. If you're into horror movies, I know, Caleb, you're into the movie world, of course. I'm sure there's tons and tons of those. But, I mean, I want to go on record and say that I think that the overall excitement and the overall just value that you get out of It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, I think is timeless. I mean, that's been out for decades, and it still makes me laugh every time I see Snoopy flying away from the Red Baron and getting shot down and saluting, and it's so funny. But like, I mean, where do you guys fall on that debate as far as fall movies or Halloween movies? Because I mean, every season I feel like it's like, oh, let's binge Christmas movies. No one binges a Thanksgiving movie. Is there even a Thanksgiving movie? I mean, anyway, that's another show. But where do you fall on the fall movie debate?
Well,
I want to hear
I've
from
never
Caleb
seen
on this
it.
one.
Go ahead.
No, I want to hear from Caleb on this one.
I've never seen You're a Great Pumpkin.
Oh my gosh.
I never have either.
Maddie!
All right. Air fives. Okay.
50-50.
Man, I don't know. Like, for a fall movie,
Yeah.
the one that immediately came to my mind was Dead Poets Society.
Oh, sure.
Oh, wow.
because they're like in the fall in the school, and you've got to leaves a lot in that movie, for a good chunk of the movie, because I think the play happens in the winter, and that's kind of the end of the movie. So I feel like that's kind of a fall movie.
I respect that.
Yeah,
I respect that. Okay.
It's also a great movie too.
I mean,
Yeah.
shout out. What about you, Maddie? Since you've never seen It's a Great Pumpkin,
Yeah, I've
Charlie
never
Brown.
seen,
Your homework for this week is go watch that movie. It's free on YouTube. Just go find the right pirated channel.
I am total anti any horror, glory, anything, clowns. I cannot.
Nope, not for me.
I absolutely cannot deal. It's horrifying. It's creepy. It's weird. It needs to stop. The movement of clowns showing up places needs to stop. Everything. It's just horrifying for society and dramatic, actually. So
Wow.
I'm going to end my rant there.
Okay. So what movies do you like to watch, Maddie?
I can watch Elf right now. I'm not gonna lie.
What?
I could do Elf.
How soon is
Elf
too
is
soon
pretty
for
good for
Elf?
year round.
No way.
It's a year rounder.
Not a chance.
It's so funny.
No way. Not a chance.
It's that Will Ferrell magic. Somehow he has a way of just kind of working himself into the zeitgeist, and it's kind of unavoidable in a lot of different facets. Does that bring us into the conversation of what is and what is not a Christmas movie? Because I fully contend that the 3 greatest Christmas movies of all time are Gremlins, Batman Returns, and Die Hard.
I'm pretty sure that's an episode for another day. However,
Die Hard, yes.
ridiculous.
Happening around Christmas time and at a Christmas party, that's enough for me to call it a Christmas movie.
You're not wrong.
But I'm totally okay, if it's on in the middle of July.
I mean, I think you're just trying to fill airtime at that point if you're just trying to run Die Hard in the middle of July. However.
Right. I mean, you're just on Viceland and you've got 5 of them to choose from, and why not?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. So, okay, let's get close to finishing this up here. So, your overall thoughts about fall. What are some of the things that are on your to-do list or things you've maybe done this fall already? Josh, we'll start with you, sir. What does fall bring to you? Because fall is my favorite season, but what does fall mean to you?
Ditto. I like the fact that I can bring out all of my cool jackets and hoodies, and so I get to wear clothing that I haven't worn for a lot of the year. It's pretty much universal. I don't want to get too terribly much into that, but there's a lot of duty kind of coming around in fall too, whether it's taking care of your leaves or winterizing. Yep. If you're a homeowner or even a renter, in my case, there's a lot of things that you need to kind of secure for the end of the year. And so you definitely just get hyped up for the end of the year. That's when I start to think about my income tax coming in, I guess, because I'm going to, right? All that kind of stuff.
And get those write-offs.
Right. Talk about how soon is too soon. The autumn is definitely too early to think about your income taxes, but it's right around the corner. So, but yeah, just kind of cleaning stuff off. There's a lot of that. But just being able to get outside while you still can before it gets really miserable, because the air is brisk, and just taking advantage of everything that nature still has to offer before it all dies. I really appreciate that about autumn, and taking in the colors, and so that's certainly on my to-do list every September through November for sure.
I can't argue with that, honestly. Caleb, what about you, Mr. Fall?
Well, I mean, it's primetime season for leaves selfies. So there is that.
Hashtag leaves. Is it leaf selfies or leaves selfies?
Leave my selfies alone.
Oh,
there you go.
Wow.
Oh.
Sorry. No, I like it because I'm a big golfer, and I think golf courses are the most beautiful in the fall.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can bust out my Argyle sweaters when I go play, so
it's actually acceptable in the fall as opposed to like March when you try to pull them out. It's a little weird.
I know. Then people are just like, "What's going on there?"
That's weird.
And no, they say that all the time.
No, fair enough.
And I mean, the thing I like too is if it's like nice out and there's a slight breeze, just to sit out on like a park bench and reading a book or something.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think is pretty nice too. So with a nice cup of warm cocoa.
Mm-hmm.
I respect that. Maddie?
Yeah.
I'm going to go football. Definitely my favorite, like, these last couple weeks of football have just been absolutely insane. And
Yep.
I just love my Sundays filled with fantasy football, getting mad at people online and
Just wanting to fight somebody.
watching. I could just, all yesterday, I just watched 8 hours of football, I think, and got so much done. And it just, you feel accomplished even though you don't do anything besides watch TV, even though you watch so many games, though, so it feels like you did.
Hopefully you've interacted with your friends a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
October is definitely probably the best month for sports in general because
Yes.
you're right in the middle of the football
Absolutely.
season. You're in the baseball playoffs. Basketball's starting up and hockey's starting up. It's probably a couple of weeks in. So it's absolutely kind of the best time. And if you're big on college football, I guess, then that's really when all the conferences are starting to shape up. So yeah, if you're a sports consumer, October is the month, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, as someone that does stuff in broadcasting, I mean, you always look forward to the fall. I mean, fall's my favorite broadcast season. You've got football. I mean, I do soccer broadcasting. You've got some volleyball in there also. I mean, it's a great time of year to be involved in really anything. I feel like people get this new sense of excitement when fall rolls around. People are outside even more. You still can go on a lot of great hikes and get your leaves selfies in there also. But I don't know. There's something about fall for some reason that I think that just really resonates with family. Also, I mean, it's something, or just good friends.
Sure.
It's that time that you want to just gather together and just do fun things together. I mean, like I was saying earlier, like my family and I a couple of weeks ago went and just did a bunch of fall activities. We painted pumpkins and pine cones, and we just were embracing fall. And it felt different and it felt good, and it was a lot of fun. So I always feel once that crisp hits the air, I'm just kind of like, this is going to be a fun couple of weeks. You just kind of embrace it and sink into all that fall has to offer, I feel like.
Yeah. Thanksgiving kind of gets the short shrift being sandwiched in between Halloween and Christmas, right?
That's true.
Because it's just kind of that one day, but then, your entire family is over, hopefully. Big travel day.
Yep. And
it's kind of crazy.
And before dessert hits the table, you're already planning for Black Friday.
You eat stuff that you never eat throughout the rest of the year. Like, nobody's ever actually gone to the effort to make a turkey just on a random Tuesday in August. It just doesn't happen.
Or cranberries out of a can.
Yeah.
It's weird. I mean, maybe. I don't want to describe. I don't want to.
Sure.
Hate on,
I like the little dried cranberries in my salad.
Well,
every here and
craisins.
there.
Craisins are good. I love craisins.
Apple toffee salad?
Wait, what?
No? Yes.
What?
Apple toffee salad?
What is apple
It's
toffee?
like chopped up apples and caramel and marshmallows. And
Sign me up.
Yeah.
You're missing
Maddie,
out.
can I come over to your house?
Caramel apple dip.
Oh,
Caramel
yes.
apple dip. Oh, we didn't talk about that. That is underrated.
Caramel apple dip, I feel like has got us. But once again, you want to give me caramel apple dip in July? No, not a chance.
No.
You can take your caramel apple dip and shove it. I want none of that.
I'm still recovering from picking out the candied apple out of my teeth from the state fair or whatever at that point.
Yeah, seriously. I also feel like caramel apples as a whole are overrated and are kind of a waste of time.
I agree with that.
This is my philosophy is I don't like eating or drinking anything that brings pain to me.
No.
That's fair.
Just saying. People are like, I love spicy food. I'm like, but it wrecks you. Nobody likes that. Just saying.
It's a mental game.
It's a mental game.
You have to
Gotta get strong.
You have to
Get your head in
gird
the
your
game.
loin.
Get your head in the game. Okay, that is my...
Oh boy! One thing to take away from tonight: it's all a mental game. Keep your head in the game. Your quote of the show from Maddie right there. Gosh! All right, let's wrap this up, guys. Caleb, final thoughts from you about fall. Why do you love it? Why do you hate it? What do you still want to get out and finish before fall finally passes us by with one foul swoop?
I hate fall because it means like the golf season is over. Not like anyone cares.
I do.
I just like the fall because it reminds me of, you get nostalgic for like when you were in school and getting back to, see all your friends. And,
Yep.
I played golf in college, so it was like you got together with your buddies and played golf and
That's
and
a
the
lot
movies.
of golf. A lot of golf for you, Caleb.
Yeah, yeah. It's a sad childhood led to that all that golf. But no, I mean golf. It's a good time for movies because a lot of the Oscar contenders start to come out.
True.
Okay.
And it's just when I get my hopes up as a Vikings fan that maybe they'll do something, leading to the inevitable crush that they won't.
Okay, but Dan Bailey, we're going somewhere.
Yeah, awesome. Better than anybody that they've had in like the last 5 years. If you can make a field goal from 25 yards, you're in. You're in.
When your single biggest free agent acquisition is a retread kicker, then yeah, that says something about your organization.
Don't worry about all the money we gave Kurt, but we got Dan Bailey.
Right.
Oh my gosh, Maddie, what
I'd rather
about
have
you?
George Bailey at that point.
Yeah, right. You want the moon? I'll lasso you the moon so you'll win the Super Bowl.
Do you want me to kick the ball? Is that what you want me to do?
Straight through the uprights.
Do you want me to lasso the goalpost for you? I'll bring it down for you, Mary. All right.
That was great.
That's amazing. How do you follow? How do we?
It's
follow?
a wonderful life, you know.
Ha!
Yeah.
Oh, Maddie, what about you? Fall? How you wrapping this up for you?
I'll go with, I am just very happy all the fall shows are back. My Grey's Anatomy, How to Get Away with Murder.
This Is Us.
911, This Is Us. So many TV shows that I think that is just a really cool thing about fall. Football is back, all the sports, all the weather, all the food. I just think that it is like the prime time for so many different northern states to really enjoy what we got.
Makes sense to me. Josh?
You know what we didn't really bring up? Oktoberfest. Sausages and really unhealthy other German-based foods. Oktoberfest beer is one. Yeah, sure, pretzels. Oktoberfest beer is one of my favorites for sure. We talked about pumpkin spice and everything like that, but yeah, all of those hearty, filling kinds of meals that you get. I just dropped 30 pounds, and I'm trying not to bring it back for this upcoming season. So I mean, we're right. So there's a victory there, I guess. Took like 3 months, but it is what it is.
Hey, man.
Every step along the way. Just trying to avoid diabetes in general, I suppose. You just throw all of that out the window on this time of year, and so. Yeah, definitely all of the celebrations around Grub, including football Sundays when I have an excuse to go find chicken wings.
All the wings.
All the wings.
All of the chicken wings.
Any Family Guy fans when they're like, oh, diabetes? I'm like, oh, this is my son Diabeto. No, you can't have a cookie. Okay, mama. Ooh, roll back. No? Oh, anyway. Man, I want to go on the record though and say that I think Oktoberfest is insanely overrated and a waste of time. I'm just going to drop that bomb there, but I just think it is. I think
I've never participated. So
yeah, exactly right, and that's why I've never participated either. I love.
It's definitely.
Go ahead.
Definitely a regional thing for sure. Like the makeup, the ethnic makeup of the area in which you live definitely has a big part of that. So it could be overkill, it could be underkill. It really kind of depends, but
it's true.
Yeah.
Hopefully nobody dies. All Oktoberfest matter. Anyway, I like Oktoberfest wine, but I don't really like Oktoberfest anything else. I don't know. I'm just saying. It's my opinion.
To each his own.
Exactly.
Hashtag NBD.
Actually, exactly right. All right. Fall for me, I think is a great thing. I love it. It's my favorite season. It's something that brings me a lot of joy and something that I'm going to enjoy to the fullest, honestly. I feel bad because I cheat the rest of the seasons, all three, the 3 out of the 4 seasons, because I'm always thinking about fall. Always thinking about those couple of months of excitement and joy. But I'm glad that everyone kind of has those couple that they fall So excited into. But all right, that's all we got for you this week on the Public House. Remember, the show comes out every single week. You can find the show on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow me at Baxter Colburn on all platforms. Follow Public House Media at the PH Media. Caleb, where can people find you?
I believe my Instagram handle is Caleb M. Pearson. And find me on Facebook at Caleb Michael Pearson.
Oof, so official. Maddie?
M_Wunderle on Instagram, Facebook, Maddie Wunderle, and Public House Media blogs.
That's right. Maddie's one of the bloggers at PHM. Josh, what about you?
I am available through Twitter and Instagram at Josh Powers Show. And on Facebook, it's probably just my actual name. But yeah, you don't want to follow me there.
Joshua Powers. I love it. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in to another edition of The Public House. Next week is going to be a fun show, so you'll want to swing back through for it. We're talking about language and culture, words and phrases that are different regionally. Talking about water fountains and bubblers, freeways, expressways, highways, etc. Come on back. Our new panel is going to be a lot of fun. You're not going to want to miss it. For all of us here at Public House Media and here on The Public House, thank you for listening. Remember to check out the website, thephmedia.com, and find out more information about this and many other Public House Media shows on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next time here in The Public House.